Earlier on in the week, I talked about the importance of your narrative and how strongly it impacts your life, the belief systems you have and the decisions you make. Then I went through a document review that I created called Read Your Own Story, which helps you unpick what your narrative is, the labels that you have and the stories that you tell yourself, and what you do to live up to that. Now I want to talk about how you can reframe that narrative, because a lot of the time that narrative doesn't serve you. So what can you do to reframe that narrative? Now for this, we're going to cut to an event I spoke at last year called Nomad City in Gran Canaria, where I talk about reframing your weaknesses. Let me know what you think. Something else I did on my journey to figuring out what I wanted to do was to reframe weaknesses. If you're going to design life in your business around you and what you love to do, you've got to get clear on what those things are. Now I've had conversations with people even last night, and the biggest hurdle to realizing your power and your knowledge is mindset and its confidence. The main reason being that society tells us that what our actual strengths are weaknesses. People misperceive their strengths as weaknesses, and if you continue to do that, you'll never have the empowerment or the confidence to design your business or your life around those things. An example for me, when I was managing an engineering business in Australia, I didn't like details, I didn't like spreadsheets, I didn't like numbers, and I didn't really like finishing tasks. But I was running a business, so you can't really get away with doing that. It's like, it was my responsibility to do the financial reporting. It was my responsibility to do the spreadsheets and to follow up with clients and to make sure tasks were finished. I didn't really like any of that, so I felt for ages and ages and ages that I was a shit boss, that I was a bad manager, that I shouldn't be leading a company because I didn't like doing all of this stuff. What I want to get into your heads is that for every weakness, there's an equal and opposite strength. So, I don't like details. I don't like being on the ground and seeing the details, being in the weeds. What does that mean? What's the equal and opposite strength to that? Is that I love seeing the bigger picture. I can spot trends, I can spot disparate viewpoints, disparate ideas, and connect them all because I can see the bigger picture. I don't like finishing tasks. What is the equal and opposite strength to that? I love starting tasks. How many of you parents said that you should finish everything that you start? I know I did. So many people think that they are poor at what they do, or they're not designed well enough to run a business or their life because they don't like finishing things. What if I told you that most of the main creators, most of the main entrepreneurs that we know about also don't like finishing things? Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, three examples of creator-type profiles who are amazing at starting things and shit at finishing things. They know this, and they've designed their life and their business around it. Richard Branson comes up with an idea for a business. He sees a weakness, he sees the bigger picture of an entire industry. He sees where the holes are. He says, I know what a business could look like in that. He writes out a few bullet points on the back of a cigarette packet. He passes it on to some people. He gets some feedback. Yes, it's a go. No, it's not. Okay, if it's a go, perfect. He has some initial meetings, and then he hands it over to his operational team to run it, and he has no involvement in the day-to-day running of that business. He knows what his strengths are, and he sticks to it. He loves starting things. He's shit at finishing things. So if you can get really clear in your heads as whatever you think your biggest weaknesses are, look, there's an equal and opposite strength to that. If you're an extrovert, people think that, well, I annoy people, I talk too much, I get in people's way, I'm too energetic, I'm like a little puppy. All feedback I've had. But in actual fact, that means you're more likely to be better at inspiring people, better at cajoling people, better at energizing people, better at selling things. Or the introverts. People beat themselves up because they're too introverted. But I can guarantee you, for every extrovert, you need to have an introvert for a successful business.